My name is Joseph Cox. It is week 2 of public communication, and our assignment is to give a speech to inform or a topic of interest of ourselves. And my topic of interest I've chosen, which is near and dear to me, would be dog training. I will begin by telling you about the history of dogs and the evolution of dogs from wolves, and how that impacts their behaviors, to how we can use these to set ourselves up for success in the future. So I would like to start with the evolution of dogs. About 14,000 years ago, man started to domesticate wolves. Not all wolves, and it wasn't an isolated incident. It had to be the less aggressive, maybe the ones that were begging for food or hung around for scraps. And they would take the pups and they would breed out the more aggressive ones, so over time they would bond with humans. Well, they domesticated these wolves for different reasons. Some were for just pure looks, really, because since it's not an isolated incident, all around the world, they're going to be the wolves would have adapted to their different environments, so they would look different. Some would have shorter snouts, some would have longer tails, shorter tails. They would just be smaller, or they would breed them the way that they would want them to look, just for looks. Different colors, different color, even eyes, or anything that I've just mentioned. They had to be less aggressive, so they have already been on the road of weeding out the aggressiveness, but some didn't. Other reasons for domestication would be to be aggressive. Unfortunately, some still do that today with dog fighting, and they even had dog fights back then. They would make them as mad as possible and pit them against each other. And they also used them for hunting, or they would breed them to protect the flocks or the smaller animals. Well, now that we know where the dogs come from and how they've evolved over time with man, we can then use that to make the predictions about how they behave today with humans instead of wolves as they were, and we can use these to know what to expect. So, since dogs come from wolves, have evolved from wolves, they are pack animals. If you take a dog away from a wolf pack, or if you take a wolf away from a wolf pack and you put it with a human that it's bonded with, it's still a pack animal. It still has rules that it adheres to. It has structure. And the structure would be, there's an alpha male and there's an alpha female. And dogs always will look for their rank in the pack. Wolves will always look for their rank in the pack. The alphas get to eat first. The alphas get to dictate when playtime is. The alphas get dibs on everything. The alphas also dish out punishment. And punishment within the wolf world would be used by growling, nipping, biting, or fluffing up and displaying their strength. Well, now that we know a little bit about their behaviors, we can translate this into we can use this to further our bond as a human host with our pack, with our dogs. Because you wouldn't want a dog nipping you or your children. They're going to find their way in the pack, and if they find someone lower in the pack than them, then they're going to use that aggressive display. So what we can do is we can become the alphas. We can put the dogs in their place, and it does not in any way have to be violent at all. As a matter of fact, that is the wrong way to go about it. Love is on the bottom of the list as far as dogs go, but they do love order, and they do love discipline, and they do love structure. So we can learn to become the alphas. We can learn to teach our children to become the alphas. If this doesn't happen, the dog will try to be the alpha. And the dog can lash out by doing different things, such as chewing on your favorite shoes, or sleeping in your bed, or walking in and jumping on people, stuff like that. Doesn't have to be aggressive, but they don't have boundaries, so they can do what they want, and they'll take it further and further. So, in conclusion, I've talked to you about the evolution of dogs from wolves, their behaviors, and why they act the way they do from the way they were bred, and how that translates into our packs as humans, as their human packs with dogs. So we can use this to our advantage, or we can let it go. But in the end, if we do use this to our advantage, we can find out what it truly means to have man's best friend.